Good evening and a warm welcome to the Incorporation of Weavers of Glasgow 507th box opening. Might be 507, 506, but who's counting? Deacon Convener, fellow deacons, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this box opening, which is a very special part of the Incorporation's work. And obviously with COVID, we've had to do it by Zoom, so we'll try and do the best we can. And hopefully next year we'll get back into Trades Hall and all meet one another. Apologies from Susan McCormick, Deacon-elect. She's just had a power cut, so unfortunately she won't be able to join us. The idea of the box opening, all crafts have got similar box openings. In olden times, all the craftsmen put money or a levy into the box. There are also fines if you were caught swearing in front of the deacon. You were fined and you put money into the box. That's where the expression, the old sweary box, comes from. These funds have accumulated, and in olden times, if people fell in hard times, if they lost a finger or lost a hand, they could get a payout. In modern times, the funds have accumulated to help with charitable and educational work. If we do have a collection of boxes, we might have one box coming up from Mark. We've got them from the 1700s, and I think we've got one from the 1600s. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our visitor and special Deacon Convener, Ken Dalglish, and his good wife, Lady Lynn Dalglish. Ken's one of us, a fellow weaver, and I'm sure Ken would like to say a few words. So if you straight up, sit up, Ken, pay attention, give it loudly, and don't speak too long. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deacon Ken, for that kind, if not sarcastic, welcome. It's a great pleasure to be here. Of course, it is especially good for me because having been a deacon of the Weavers and now Deacon Convener, I'm one of a small group of people since the millennium, including Hamish Brodie and Ian Dunsmore, who have been deacon of the Weavers, but then gone on to be Deacon Convener. It's a great honour for me to take up this post in a very challenging year. I know you will all be aware of the circumstances of the year. Trades House has sadly been closed since March last year. However, we have managed to function, and of great importance has been the continuation of the charitable giving. And I know that the box opening is a very special evening, not just for the historical side of events which Ken has mentioned, but also the fact that we now use this vehicle to thank and congratulate and welcome our charities that we support in the Weavers. So I'd like to wish a warm welcome to all of you who are here, possibly for the first time. I'd also like to welcome the 2020-21 Chain Gang, some of whom are here. A warm welcome to you and to anyone else who is a member of the Weavers, and in particular, the Weavers Master Court. Everyone is welcome, and I'm sure you will have a fantastic evening. Before I hand back to Ken, I want to, in advance, thank Charlie Newlands for putting on his vaudeville act to cheer us all up in very uncertain times, not least the most recent information about poor old Glasgow staying in level 3 until we're told otherwise. However, enjoy the evening. I look forward to hearing Charlie entertain us, and I look forward especially to seeing all the charity representatives say a few words and to hear a bit about what you're doing. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Deacon Convener. Now, before we proceed, I would like to introduce our Master Court. Guys, if you can wave and smile when I introduce you. Our late Deacon, Breeze Smythe. My collector, Mark Hamilton. Unfortunately, Susan McCormick, Deacon-elect, can't make it. And our clerk, Mark Sherland. Now, the rest of the Master Court, if you'd all like to wave and smile, and my cheery gang. I'd also like to introduce Charlie Newlands. He's the chap with the guitar, and he is going to entertain us tonight. So Charlie, if you would like to start the proceedings off, over to you. Thank you.
You know that was deliberate, Deacon, don't you?
Oh, I know that, Dad.
Aye. I just thought I'd put you in the mood. So I was coming up with a big picture here. Am I not coming up in the big picture? Oh, if it wasn't for the weavers, what would you do? You wouldn't hae the clays that's made out of wool. You wouldn't hae a coat or the black or the blue if you wasn't for the work. Oh, the weavers, we're all met together here, all to sit and crack, with glasses in our hands and our work upon our back. There's nae a trade among us that can mend or can mack if it wasn't for the work. Oh, the weavers, if it wasn't for the weavers, what would we do? We'd play, oh, fool, you wouldn't hae a coat o' the black or the blue if it wasn't for the work. Oh, the weavers, though weaving is a trade that never can fail, as long as we need clays to keep a body hale. Let us all be merry, we'll bicker o' good ale, and we'll drink to the health o' the weavers. If it wasn't for the weavers, what would we do? We wouldn't hae a clothes all made out of wool. We wouldn't hae a coat o' the black or the blue if it wasn't for the work o' the weavers. I met an old friend. I'm going to go back on to speaker view, and I'm not even getting.
We can hear you, Charlie.
Speaker view. Am I supposed to go into speaker view?
Anything you want, Charlie, but we can hear you loud and clear.
That's right. It wasn't actually delayed or anything. Sometimes on the Zoom calls, you sing and it delays before it hits the opposite focus. It's sounding all right.
No, your lip sync was perfect. So you must have got the tape recorder and your voice
right.
timed well.
I really must tell you, Mark, I met a friend a few months ago and I said, how are you doing, Mark? And he said, I'm doing very well. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm starting a new job on Monday. I said, doing what? He said, the door-to-door salesman. I said, what are you selling? He said, Bibles. Well, I bumped into him 5 weeks later. And I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm doing very well. I sold 417 Bibles. I said, how did you do it? He said, well, I asked them if they'd like to buy a Bible, or would they like me to read it to them? Just got a key here. Now there's Party Cross in Cessnock, Hillhead and Merklin Streets. There's George's Cross and Govan Cross, where all the people meet. There's a West Street, Shields Road, the train goes round and round. You've never lived unless you've been on the Glasgow Underground. Ah-hum, ah-hum. Well, they tell me that Mallorca is a dandy place to be. Paris, and there are many beauty spots upon the Clyde of Firth, but I would rather always travel down the earth. And there's Party Cross and Cessnock, Hillhead and Merklin Streets, and George's Cross and Govan Cross, where all the people meet. There's a West Street, Shields Road, the train goes round and round. You've never lived unless you've been on the Glasgow Underground. Ah-hum, ah-hum. Now, I don't like the stewy winds, showers or the snow. The sun can be too burny and the rain's no nice at all. But I don't mind the weather now, as on my way I go. The Dolce Vita's waiting there, 100 feet below. And there's Party crossing Cessnock Hill Heath and Merkin Street, George's Cross and Govan Cross where all the people meet. There's West Street, Shields Road, train goes round and round. You've never lived unless you've been on the Glasgow Underground. The Glasgow Underground. There was an old couple sitting on the Underground and they're looking across and there's a young couple kissing and necking away. And the old lady said, "You should be doing that." And the old man said, "I don't even know the lassie." Anyway, I'm going to step off at Bridge Street and I'm cut through to my granny's house. And every wee boy loved his granny. Oh, I should have listened to granny. She told me how to be good, to stay in the house when there's bogies about, to look up the fire in case it goes out. Oh, she told me how to be canny and wear woolies next to my chest. Why go looking for fame when you're safer at home? And I know that my granny knows best. Now, one thing I've learned since I've travelled the world about all the brave men that you read, though their courage is fine and they're brave as a lion, there's a hell of a lot of them, indeed. So I should have listened to granny. She said we boys should beware of lang-legged beasties that bite off your nose, barbed wire fences that tear your good clothes. Oh, don't jump the burn in a wanny. You'll fall in and soak your new vest. Why go looking for fame when you're safer at home? And I know that my granny knows best. Now, to get to my granny's, I had to pass 2 or 3 cinemas. And Glasgow at one time was Cinema City. We had more cinemas per head of population than any city in the world. And there was 2 Welsh girls, Gwyneth and Blodwen. And they were standing talking, and Blodwen said, "I went to the pictures last night with Di, and he bought me sweeties. And we sat in the pictures, and he put his hand up my jumper, and I laughed. And he put his hand up my skirt, and I laughed." And Gwyneth said, "Why did you laugh, Blodwen?" She said, "Because the sweeties were in my pocket." That's the great thing about a Zoom call. You can laugh to yourself. Ah, well, there we go. So we're back onto this round about this Glasgow Underground, and we're going to go round and step off it. Govan. Oh, my wee school's the best wee school in Glasgow. The only thing that's wrong with it, it's a baldy heated meester. Goes to the pub on a Saturday night, goes to the church on Sunday, to pray to God to gie him strength, to build the wains on Monday. Some of you young guys and girls that are there, of course, probably never saw a belt or a toes. Teachers have got a very difficult job. And this teacher asked the class if they could give her a story with a moral. And a wee girl put her hand up and said, "My daddy went down to the pub, ordered a pint of beer, his hand in his pocket. He had no change. What's the moral?" said the teacher. "A stitch in time saves 9. She said, "That's very good." Anyway, there's always one in the class that's a real problem. And Kenneth's in the front, and Kenneth puts his hand up and says, "My grandpa was in the war. He was in the trenches. And he looked up and he saw a regiment of Germans 400 yards away coming towards him. So he drank a bottle of whiskey and he sat down. He stood up a few minutes later and the regiment was 200 yards away coming towards him. So he drank a bottle of whiskey and sat down. When he stood up the 3rd time, they were almost on top of him. He shot half of them and he killed the other half with his bayonet. The teacher says, "What's the moral?" He says, don't muck about with my grandpa when he's been drinking. Yeah, teachers do have it difficult. Are there any teachers in tonight? Hey, have we got any teachers in tonight? Can you see there's not a gallery on here? If we go to gallery view, I can maybe see tonight. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
None that'll admit it, Charlie.
What's that? There's nobody going to admit it.
No,
Right.
none that'll admit it.
Anyway, new teacher decided to get to know her pupils. So she said, right, okay, can someone tell me that daddy work in an office? So we got his hand up and yeah, my daddy's in an office. She said, that's very good. Office workers, you know, doing accounts and doing invoicing and you know, clerical work. That's very good. Another wee boy put his hand up. He said, my dad's a joiner. So that's very good. Builds houses and builds furniture. And then sitting in the front, there's Paul. And Paul says, my daddy's a magician. Oh, she says, that's very, very interesting. And what does he do? Well, he says he pulls habits out of a hat and makes things disappear. And he saws people in half. And the teacher going on said, have you got any siblings? He says, yes, I've got 2 half brothers and 2. Oh, dear goodness. Anyway, I'm going to go back onto this magic orange underground, and we're going round to George's Cross. And at George's Cross, I'm going to go off and I'm going to a tram car. Now, if you want to know where tram cars go, when tram cars should be sleeping in the tram depot, I'll listen to them singing as they roll along, and you'll tell you all about it in the tram car song. Oh, shugle, 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 clang, 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 shugle, 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 way a bang, 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 shugle, 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 clang, 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 on the road the and shugle in the morning. So I've gone on round on the orange underground, Clockwork Orange, and I've now come to Buchanan Street, and I'm going to get a bus to Dundee. And I'm going to finish this session with another weaving song. I am a Dundee weaver, and I come frae bonny Dundee. I met a Glasgow fella, and he's been courting me. He took me out a walking down by the Broomielaw, and there the dirty wee rascal stole my thingamajig-a-waw. And there the dirty wee rascal stole my thingamajig-a-waw. He took me out a walking up by the Rookin Glen. He showed to me the bonny wee birds, and he showed me the bonny wee hen. He showed to me the bonny wee birds for the linnet to the crow. And he showed to me the bird that stole my thingamajig-a-waw. Then he showed to me the bird that stole my thingamajig-a-waw. So I'll go back to Dundalkin, bonny, young and fair. I'll put on my buckle and shoes and tie up my bonny brown hair. I'll put on my corset tight to make my body look small, and they'll no ken me my rosy cheeks at my thingamajig-a-waw. So all ye Dundee weavers, take this advice for me: never let a fella an inch above your knee. Never stand down in a close nor up against a wall. Or like me, you can safely say your thingamajig-a-waw. Or like me, you can safely say your thingamajig-a-waw. Right, so I've now got the pleasure of introducing the charities that are being invited. And the great thing about the charities is over the years, the masters and the deacons have had the opportunity to visit many of the charities. I notice this year there's 1 or 2 new charities, which is great, because, I mean, Ken's already said how much we do for charity over the years. So I'm looking at the list here, and the first award goes to the Glasgow City Mission. And I'm going to ask each of the recipients to stand by, say a few words on the important work of their charity.
Good evening. My name is Jack Geddes. I'm the Marketing and Fundraising Manager from Glasgow City Mission. First of all, I want to give my apologies for not being able to join you on Zoom this evening, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity to give our heartfelt thanks for the donations we have received from our Incorporation of Weavers. We really do appreciate it. You have been consistent and long-standing supporters of Glasgow City Mission, and in the last year we have received two donations, which one was for COVID response and the other was for a drop-in. We have been able to use these for the betterment of the situation of our guests through this pandemic. We have been able to continue to feed our guests, initially through food parcels and supermarket vouchers, and we are delighted that our drop-in is now open again. We're open for breakfast, lunch and dinner from 10 AM till 8 PM. This gives us an opportunity to chat to our guests properly, build up relationships and find out what their issues are. With support from yourselves, this would not be possible for the most vulnerable people in Glasgow. So once again, thank you very much and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much, Jack. We'll now call on Erskine Home, Gareth Toner.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay? I'm the same as you. I can't see myself on the screen at the moment, but hopefully you can hear me all right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Right. Well, thank you very much, Tim, for having me along. This is the first time I've been to the event. I've obviously not been able to go in person, but I'm sure you've heard a bit about Erskine before. We've had the Weaver supporting us for nearly 30 years now, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you again for that. So Erskine, Scotland's leading veterans charity, for anyone that hasn't heard of Erskine before. We support 1,000 veterans every year. And your grant this year went towards our Glasgow home, which is based in Anniesland, and provide support to 47 local veterans, providing nursing and dementia care. The average age at the home is 85, and a lot of those veterans are obviously quite elderly and quite at risk from COVID and everything over the last year. So it's been amazing to have your support at that difficult time. So the grant funded personal protective equipment and hygiene materials for the home. So basically during the most, even now, but even during the most challenging times of the lockdowns, that's really let our staff continue to give those veterans the best sort of quality of life possible. Things are a really sort of bright picture at the home the last couple of months, which I'm really pleased to say. We were able to start our indoor visiting again after the lockdown on the 1st of March, which has been brilliant for our residents. We've run more of our sort of enhanced care services that Erskine provides for free for every resident. So our Sonus therapy groups, our Namaste care for residents living with advanced dementia, that's all happening again, thanks to the PPE and hygiene materials that you've funded. And also our residents are getting more trips out now and more time with their friends and family. And just about everyone's had their second vaccination at the home, residents and staff now, which is absolutely fantastic news. So yeah, it's only possible for us to provide that level of support to Glasgow's veterans thanks to our loyal supporters like the Weavers. So just on behalf of everyone at the home, staff and residents, just want to thank you all again and just wish you the best for the rest of the year, and fingers crossed you're able to get back to the trades hall as soon as possible. I know that was disappointing news today, but fingers crossed the next time you're meeting it will be in person.
Thank you very much. I can just add to that story. June and her ladies have actually knitted and handed in blankets just a few weeks ago. And there was a blanket that was squares, sort of 2 shades of khaki green, which you would have thought would not be welcome. But the old guy that got it, obviously ex-soldier or ex-military, thought it was wonderful and was sure that he'd get the best of the batch. So well done, Erskine Home. Okay, thanks very much. And now we're going to Social Bite, Natasha Clark.
Hello everyone, I'm Natasha, the representative from Social Bite. Social Bite is a social business and a homelessness charity. So we run 5 cafes and a restaurant from the major cities in Scotland, from which all proceeds go towards our projects which look to end homelessness. So these projects include supported employment programs, so helping people from a homeless background get back into employment, as well as innovative housing solutions such as the Social Bite Village. Now, the Social Bite Village is based in Granton in Edinburgh, and it gives people an alternative to emergency accommodation. It provides a safe and secure home with wraparound support to help residents build an independent life. Now, the brilliant donation from the Incorporation of Weavers has allowed us to continue our work within the free food provision service that we provide. Now, we provide that from our cafes, but this specific donation was used in our Glasgow cafe to help people who come from a situation of homelessness, but also due to the COVID pandemic, providing free food to just those living in food poverty as well. So we really do thank you for that support. We wouldn't have been able to provide that service specifically from the Glasgow Cafe without you. And I just wanted to leave you with our latest campaign that Social Bite is working on. We are looking to build 2 more Social Bite villages, one in Glasgow and also one in London. And to do this, we are partnering with the Olympic gold medalist Chris Hoy. And we've launched a charity cycle ride called Break the Cycle, which is going to take place in September. So if there's any keen cyclists among you, and if you want to take on Sir Chris, he'll be there as well. But overall, just a huge thank you. Thank you for inviting me today. And thank you so much for your donation for our free food provision in Glasgow Cafe. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Natasha. The Prince and Princess of Wales Hospice.
It's actually Rona Bailey that's here for the hospice. Sorry, we changed that kind of at the last minute. So I'm Rona. Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm actually was in the Incorporation of Barbers for quite a long time. So specifically glad to see you all and know some of you that are here. So a lot of you may know the Prince and Princess of Wales Hospice. We built a new building, Bellahouston Park, 2 years ago, and that really helped us actually during the pandemic, where we couldn't have cared for people did we not have the setup. So that was I suppose something that we didn't expect, but that's been really helpful. We're really, really grateful for you helping us financially, because like many other charities this year, the 3.5 million that we would raise every year to keep our doors open is literally fairly dried up. And every single penny was a prisoner, and we were really, really glad to get help. So we've got the hospice is 1,200 new referrals a year. Everybody's terminal ill, but not, some are cared for at home, some in inpatient unit, some in different other places around Glasgow. Wherever they need help, we would go out and support them. I think what's probably compounded that this year is that we've had quite a number of patients who have come in with a terminal diagnosis, but also with a COVID diagnosis, and that's made it really, really difficult for families. So one of the main challenges has been visiting, and quite a lot of the funding that we've be gratefully received has been, tried to help the visitors and people that have come in that are really, really distressed. The other thing that we've seen this year is in some young people, a younger age group, late diagnosis cancer, because obviously there's been quite a failure in the NHS over this year, and that's incredibly hard to see. When you see, your average age coming in 60 over, and then obviously you're seeing quite a lot of young people. So we've seen a lot of young people from 30-year-old upwards. So it's been a challenging environment, and I'm sure the next year we'll continue to see people like that. We also spent quite a lot of our time behaving in a way that a hospice probably normally wouldn't, by supporting our communities. We set up a food kitchen, and our senior team cooked quite a few meals, 400 plus a week, and we worked with Gov and Salvation Army to feed our local communities. So it's been really, really quite invigorating actually to help your communities in a different way, and we've built quite a lot of bridges there and made new relationships. So it's been a huge emphasis on partnership work. But just again to thank you so much, because that donation really helped us, and it's helped all of those things there that I've just been explaining to you tonight. So, and thanks for inviting us. Thanks for your support.
Right, the Haven.
Yeah, hi there. Yep, hiya. How you doing? So I'm Richie, and I'm a support worker at The Haven. The Haven is a drug and rehabilitation centre, supported housing. And we just want to say thank you so much, because I think we would agree that, you know, our country, Scotland, has, you know, a severe problem with drug and alcohol abuse, and especially over the last year, we have seen so many guys getting referred to ourselves that we've actually not, the Haven building, we can't facilitate the amount of people that's been referred. So with that being said, with your donation, and we're not government funded either, so we've been struggling, but with this donation, we're putting it towards, we're going to be building an outbuilding where there's going to be an actual separate detox unit where 4 to 6 guys can come in, and also we're going to look to expand to build another couple of rooms on where there's 2 guys in each room, so that's another 4 guys, so that's 10 guys all in, so that's absolutely massive. So we just want to say thank you so much, because it really means so much to us, because the amount of, you know, bad stuff that we've seen in the past year because of the drugs and that, you know, and now we're finally seeing a bit of light into the situation with your donation. So we just want to say thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Richie. I was out there 2 or 3 years ago, and
yep.
The vegetables out the vegetable patch made a lovely soup. Right, Small Shop Cottages, Kath Mitchell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
A real Kent face.
I just want to say a big, big thank you, because we haven't been open last year or even this year. So the money was really so useful to help us pay the gas bill, the electricity bill, the phone bill, etc. It's helped us to keep our heads above water. So thank you very much, Incorporation of Weavers.
Thank you, Kath. Right,
That's my minute up.
East Park Home, Kim Little.
Hello. Actually, my name's Geraldine O'Neill. I'm the head of care services from East Park, and Kim's our fundraising manager, and she's not available tonight. She's not very well, so I've attended. I'm very pleased to do so. So East Park is a residential school and care service for children in Glasgow. It was founded in 1874 by a Glasgow benefactor, William Mitchell, and at that time the children were described as permanently infirm, and he set it up because if children were ill, they didn't get any education, and so it was a sort of hospital school. That was what it was described as. The children at that time had the sort of diseases you would expect of an industrial, harsh and poor city as Glasgow was then. Over the years, we've evolved to meet the needs of children in Glasgow and in Scotland, and evolved to meet the needs of education and social care. So we've got 20 children living in East Park. They live there all year round, although it's a residential school as well. They've really all come to us because their parents have really struggled to look after them because of their often because of their behaviour, because almost all, unlike the children from 1874, the children that we have now really mainly have autism, and with that some quite extreme behaviour. They're at the extreme end of the autism spectrum, so parents understandably really struggle with that, and so often the children, if the parents just can't cope, the children come to live with us. But we are very proud of the outcomes that we have for the children now. They don't live all on site anymore. They live in really nice houses in the community in the northwest of Glasgow, just 3 or 4 children to each house, so a nice family atmosphere. So we would just like to say, you know, a big thank you to the Weavers. You've been great supporters of us over the years, and we couldn't do without you. We're at a point now in East Park where we have had funding over the years from the Scottish Government. However, they're taking it off us now. We've had it probably, I think, since 1913, believe it or not, from the Scottish Government. They've given us some fundings, but now they've decided that they're withdrawing that funding entirely. So we are working to ensure that we can continue to support the children. So we're so grateful for all the support we've had from the Weavers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Geraldine. There's quite a few of the ex-deacons have visited East Park over the years.
Yeah.
And it's all admired the work that goes on there.
That's good.
So finally, we come to you and Mikey at the Lodging House Mission.
Well, thank you, Charlie. That's kind of you. I'm delighted to be attending the Weavers Box opening once again. Can I first of all say how much I'm delighted to see Kim MacDonald is showing his support as Deacon for the Lodging House Mission by wearing turquoise, which matches very nicely to the Lodging House Mission tie that I'm wearing. So well done, Ken, and thank you for that. On a more serious note, Lodging House Mission, of course, very much appreciates the donation that we've had this year and of course in previous years. Not only have we suffered as everybody has from COVID, we very sadly and tragically lost our manager, Stephen Mitchell, to COVID in February. So that has been really quite traumatic. However, nonetheless, our business is in helping the homeless and the socially excluded. And although the homeless were all given spaces in hotels at the start of COVID, they were not given food. And part of our role during the pandemic has been to supply food to those in homelessness accommodation. So much so that at Christmas we supplied about 300 lunches in a packed format to the various places that the homeless were being housed. Now we continue to do that. We are at the present about to appoint or have appointed, it will take up a place in June, a new manager. And the only way we can continue our work is with the donations from institutions such as yourself. So thank you very much on behalf of Lodging House Mission. It is very much appreciated, your donation, and it all goes to the benefit of the homeless and the socially excluded. Thank you.
I well remember that you were placed under the Kingston Bridge for a number of years before you moved up from there, and I attended one of your art exhibitions and bought a painting that one of your guys had. Brilliant, absolutely loved the painting. Good. So you know, I wish you well and everything that you do. What was that, June? Scar. It was Scar from The Lion King, and he did an excellent job of it. Right, Deacon, I can pass back on to you now. That's all the charities received or said their piece. Okay.
Thank you, Charlie. Well done, everybody. Let's give a hearty round of applause for all the good cause and support that we've given, and wish them well for this year and every year to follow. In fact, the Incorporation of Weavers of Glasgow gives about £60,000 a year to charities, universities and textile projects around the country. The other 13 incorporations and trades house dispense around £750,000 in a year. I would like to introduce the Weavers Industry Awards, lifelong contribution to the textile industry, awarded to individual who has given long service to a company, educational institution, or textile businesses, promoting good practice in production, design and marketing of textiles and fabrics. And the first winner is David Cowley from Strathmore Woolen Company. Well done, congratulations. We will be sending a certificate and a medal to you guys. And I forgot to say, yeah, that's it, perfect. So David's been a long sufferer of me in the textile industry. I don't know how many years, but you'll be glad to hang your shuttle up. Do you want to say any words, David?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Ken. This was a huge surprise and a great honour for me to be nominated for this award. But I do have to say that it's just not for me personally. It's very much a reflection of the immense support I've received from many people during, believe it or not, 52 years in the tartan business. My family, particularly my wife Joan and daughter Heather, who were part of the Strathmore Woolen Company for many years, also my colleagues and staff and customers and suppliers, and many friends in the industry who have made my long working life such an incredible and enjoyable experience. Thank you all very much.
Next, we have Frank Steele, nominated by McNaughton Group of FTS Dyers. Congratulations, Frank, and enjoy your.
Thank you.
If you'd like to say a few words, you're welcome to say a few words.
Yes, I would. I just want to thank the Incorporation of Weavers of Glasgow for recognising my lifelong achievement, and to the McNaughton Group for nominating me. But I've been 56 years man and boy, and it was Langham Dyeing Company, and then it eventually came to FTS Dyers, which is my initials. And the one good thing that came out of COVID was that to save the business, I furloughed myself and allowed the young team to take it on, and with little supervision from myself. And it highlighted to me that the young people that I've trained can do the job and take the business forward. So I'm so proud of them. When I bought the business in 2002, the average age of the workforce was in the high 50s, nearly 60. Now it's in the nearly 30. So it's a young team to take the business forward, and I'm so proud of that. It's made my life worthwhile, you know. I still pop in now and again to see them, and I love the business. But thank you very much again.
Great, you're welcome. That's good news. There's some young folk taking over. That's encouraging. Yep. Next one is for Anne Riley, Alex Beggs of Ayr. If you'd like to say a few words, and congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'm very honoured to receive the award, and I feel like I'm a very sort of, although I've been in the industry for 40 years, I've only been at Beggs for 10 years, and Begg, of course, has existed since 1866, so I feel that I'm a very small blip on that long history. But as some of my colleagues there were saying, I think the really important thing is that we now act as mentors. I became ill a year and a half ago, and I'm now working less, but I'm spending a lot of time working with the younger team in the industry, in Begg. And I think it's really important because they will be the ones that will take it forward and continue the success that Begg has had for so many years. But thank you for the award. I'm very honoured.
The next awards are for Best New Woven Fabric or Textile. This is a category open to weavers who can exhibit top-class design, technical ability, an understanding of colour, and delivery expertise piece of weaving. They can weave, they can be woven on a large hand loom, small hand loom, or can be machine woven. And a sample weave must be provided, which we have already received. And this has been won by Lucy MacDonald. Congratulations. And we can see a wee piece of your work. Well done. And we'll be posting out a cheque and a certificate in due course. Lucy, would you like to say a few words at all?
Thank you. Very exciting, because the only thing I've ever won before was first place for marmalade in the village show. So this is much better.
Good. Congratulations. Moving on to the next, most innovative fabric or textile. This category is open to weavers working at the cutting edge of fabric manufacturing, exhibiting a quality textile which can be used for initiative purposes, perhaps in the field of medicine or science, perhaps fabric that has a greater durability, even fabric made in a substance usually considered unrelated to textile industry. And the winner is Susan Carden. Congratulations and well done. And there we can see some of your work, which looks very good. Would you like to say a few words, Susan?
I'd just like to thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Really do. Thank you. Thank you again.
Great. Thank you. And well done. Next is Totally Tartan. This is a newly introduced award category to support our national fabric. Entrants were asked to submit items made from or with tartan as an essential part of a component. The item was judged on the quality, the originality and the good design, and the winner is Julian McDonald. Congratulations, and I think we might see a wee piece of your work coming up. Here we go. That looks like a McDonald tartan by chance, is it? Would you like to say a few words, Julian?
Yes, it is a McDonald tartan. I've actually noticed there's a few McDonald's in this chat. There's quite a lot of us. Yes, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. I'm delighted to have won. It was definitely a fun project. Thank you.
Great, congratulations. All done very well, and it's nice to see sort of quality of weaving coming through, which is good. Like to thank the judging panel, which was Susan McCormick and Linda Leash, done a fantastic job. And again, thanks for all the hard work and effort you've done putting into this. And had nothing to do with the two other McDonald's winning. Moving on, this is the part of the proceedings where we, which is the box opening. And this is a very important part of the year. Unfortunately, we've not been able to do much with it. The customary for the deacon to rumble in the box to see what other deacons have put in previous years. So I've decided for this year to put in some face masks, and one's McDonald, rubber gloves and wipes and hand sanitizer, so future generations can see what we did look through COVID for a year and a half. As I said, we've got 5 boxes. I don't know if we've got any pictures of any of the boxes. Sorry?
I just had a picture up there and I'm taking it down. Wait a second, I'll put it back up.
Okay. The boxes have been restored over the last few years from Ken Gibb of the Tailors, which has been really good. And I think this is a box from 1728, but we do have 5 boxes. One of the crafts, I think it's a Wrights. It's got a huge trunk. You could put a dead body in it, but obviously there's not been a dead body put in it. So moving on,
as far as you know, Ken, as far as we know,
as far as
we'll find out at some point, probably a box opening a number of years from now.
Valid point. So moving on, Charlie, would you like to give us a few more tunes, please? Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Some folk might have preferred it if it was.
Well, that's true.
When I was a bachelor, I lived all alone, and I worked at the weaver's trade. And the only thing that I ever did wrong was to woo a fair young maid. I wooed her in the winter time and in the summer too. And the only thing that I ever did wrong was to save her from the foggy, foggy dew. One night she came to my bedside when I lay fast asleep. She laid her head upon my bed and she began to weep. She sighed, she cried, she darn near died. She said, "What shall I do?" So I hauled her into bed and I covered up her head just to save her from the foggy, foggy dew. Now I am a bachelor and I live with my son, and we work at the weaver's trade. And every single time that I look into his eyes, it reminds me of the fair young maid. It reminds me of the winter time and of the summer too, and the many, many times that I held her in my arms just to keep her from the foggy, foggy dew. Yes, the many, many times that I held her in my arms just to keep her from the foggy, foggy dew.
Well done.
Mark went to his car. It was parked in the Tesco car park. And he saw a note under the windscreen wiper. And he picked it out and it read, there's a policeman across the car park thinks I have just reversed into your car and I'm leaving my name and address, but I'm not.
Oh, like that.
Dear goodness gracious me, where does he get them? Here's one or two of us are getting that wee bit older, but it's really never too late to start living. When I was 80, I started smoking. Took to drink, Frankie, sorry. When I was 80, I started smoking. Took to drinking at 85. Well, at 90, I took to courting. Man, it's great to be alive. 95 saw me in business, determined to make my pile. At 100, I made my first million. Then I started living in style. Oh yes, it's never too late to start living, to get up and have some fun. The sun will be just as shiny in the morning as the first day the world begun. I bought me a West End apartment, used 50s to light my cigars, developed a taste for fine champagne, drove fast Italian cars. Now the doctor, he gave me a warning, a lesson about right and wrong. If I didn't change my sinful ways, I wouldn't last very long. Oh yes, it's never too late to start living, to get up and have some fun. The sun will be just as shiny in the morning as the first day the world begun. Now I'm a 200-year-old alcoholic, and the nicotine's done for me. And yesterday in the Morning Post, I got a writ for paternity, but I'm not really worried. Maybe I'll have me a son, and the sun will be just as shiny for him as the first day the world begun. Oh yes, it's never too late to start living. Get up and have some fun. Sun will be just as shiny in the morning as the first day the world begun. There's been a lot of problems with COVID and a lot of problems with people getting the, hospital visits and hospital attention. But just before the COVID, our son was in for an operation, and I went up to visit him. And he was all wired up to all these connections and tubes, and he had a face mask on. And he said to me, "Are my testicles black?" And I said, "What?" He said, "Are my testicles black?" So I carefully lifted the bottom of the covers, and he said, "Are my test results back?" Oh dear. The West of Scotland has its own peculiarities. We have two major groups, and it's only when somebody like Andy Cameron comes along and entertains them both and goes to both clubs wearing half of a Celtic strip and half of a Rangers strip. So this next wee ditty has got to be taken very lightly. Oh, it was young, it was old, and it was beautiful, a work of art with painted tips. and it hung with repose beneath his nose, covering top and bottom lips. Now my father wore it as a youth till he died at 94, and we never knew, stuck on with glue, the moustache my father wore. Every Sunday night by the firelight, all the family gathered close, and we'd reminisce on the hairiness that was found beneath his nose. And from the mantelpiece we'd take down the case where his stash was kept in store, and we'd greet a lot as we each had a shot of the moustache my father wore. Oh, I get best laughs at my own songs and jokes. Do you know, I started a new job with the Samaritans, and one night I phoned in sick, and the girl talked me out of it.
That's a slow burn. A slow burn.
That was a slow burn there. Every time we used to have family parties and everybody sang, and I mean, you would get all sorts of songs, but eventually at some part of the night there had to be a wee bit of culture. Okay, so this is where this wee bit of culture comes in. My love, she is a hairy, her name is Joan. I gave my love a cherry complete with stone. My love, she dropped the cherry down on her dress, a cherry on a hairy, oh what a mess. Oh, does the stain come out? She cried in pain. Oh, does the stain come out? She cried again. Oh, does the stain come out? I told her fine. I hope the stain comes out. I've swallowed mine. Oh, dear goodness.
Okay.
Mark came into the office on Monday morning with a black eye. What happened, Mark? He says, well, I was at church on Sunday, and at the end of the service we stood up, and I noticed that Mrs. McDonald in front, her skirt was caught between her cheeks, so I pulled it out, and she didn't like it. So fine. So the following Monday he comes in, he's got two black eyes. I said, what happened, Mark? He said, well, I was at church on Sunday, and at the end of the service we all stood up, and Mrs. McDonald's skirt was caught between her cheeks, and the guy beside me pulled it out. I got a second black eye. Ah, dear goodness. Right, okay. I've got to finish. I gotta get myself set up for this one. Well, now an old cowpoke went riding out one dark and windy day. Upon the ridge he rested as he went along his way. A bolt of fear went through him as they thundered across the sky, but he saw the riders coming hard, and he heard their lonesome cry. Yippee-yi-yi, yippee-yi-yi, whoa, whoa. Ghost riders in the sky. As the riders rode on by him, he heard one call his name. Charlie, you want to save your soul from hell, riding on a range? Well, come and your ways today, with us you will ride, trying to catch the devil's head across these endless skies. Yippee-yi-yi! Yippee-yi-yi! Whoa, whoa! Ghost riders in the sky! I've just deafened June. God, yeah.
Well done, Charlie. Many thanks. One of the box openings, I was sitting right next to Charlie. I just recently got hearing aids, and it was too loud, and I had to take my hearing aids out.
And you still heard them.
So, thanks very much. Great homegrown entertainment. And if anybody would like to hire Charlie, he's free most weekends. He's got plenty of guitars, and he also brings apple pie. Each year he makes us about 300, 350 apple pies. So thanks, Charlie. Well done. Thank you. Okay, over to my collector, Mark Hamilton, for photo thanks.
Thank you, Ken. Good evening, everyone. Well, how'd you follow that from Charlie? I'm reminded of the country and western bar scene from the Blues Brothers. Slightly tempted to start on the theme from Rawhide, but I shall spare you all from that. Now, in normal circumstances, our prizes would have been given out at the Weavers' Dinner in February. Unfortunately, events, dear boy, events, interceded, and we decided to combine this with our box opening in May, in the hope that we would be able to give out these prizes in person. Once more, events interceded, and we find ourselves here online again. So, I can reassuredly say that this is the first of the 506 box openings that has been held in such a manner. Can you imagine the reaction to this that would have happened at the 406th box opening, never mind any before that? The world has indeed changed. As Ken said, it's falls upon me to give a vote of thanks this evening. All of our prize winners, we're so very sorry you weren't able to collect your prizes in person in the beautiful environs of the main hall, which are over Mark Sherlin's shoulder, at our choosing dinner. But thank you very much for attending this evening, and thank you very much for everything you do and have done for the trade of weaving. For many years, the textile industry in Scotland was in decline and struggled. However, I see a revitalised industry, as mentioned by our contributors, that has the highest standards of quality, shown in the fabrics created by David at Strathmore, Frank at McNaughton, and Anna Alex Begg. Furthermore, I think we can all see a bright future in the skills and inventiveness of our three winners. Lucy, Susan, Gillian, keep up, keep doing what you're doing. You're pushing the technical and design envelope of weaving and textiles in beautiful and innovative new ways. The Scottish textile industry has some very serious talent and is in good, capable hands going forward. Now, to our charity recipients, we are very sorry you weren't able to join us in the saloon, with its walls lined with the history of the house. Those walls lined with the names of those who have left bequests and other charitable giving. In so many ways, charitable donations are a very selfish thing for the giver, and they give those that make the donation so much. We in the Weavers are truly lucky to be able to assist you. However, we mustn't forget the primary purpose and the vitally important work that you do. This past year, far more difficult circumstances, as all of our prize winners have intimated, For that, we are truly thankful for all of you and all that you do for this city and our fellow citizens. I'm sure every one of us would prefer to be in the Trades Hall, and hopefully one evening soon, hopefully, we were maybe hoping it would be next week, but it's not going to be next week, we will be able to do so. However, those involved in setting up this evening deserve recognition for arranging tonight. Not a traditional box opening by any means, but a unique box opening that has been very special in its own way. Can I thank ex-deacon Charlie Newlands for his musical skills? It's written down, Charlie, so it must be true. And entertaining us so well this evening, and many evenings before this. Charlie is a man of many talents, which may surprise you having listened to him. Oratory, musical, but his foremost talent, as mentioned by Deacon Ken MacDonald, is baking. His apple crumble is the only thing that makes the September House meeting bearable. Thank you once more, Charlie. To our clerk, Mark Sherland, I need to thank you, not just for this evening, but for everything you do. I can only speak for myself, but it is wonderful to be metaphorically able to lean over and ask him for advice, and to always be able to reach down and find just the right bit of paper you need at the right time. You're a great asset to the Weavers, Mark. Finally, I'd like to give thanks to Deacon Ken MacDonald. It's fair to say, to take Charlie's Western metaphor to ridiculous ends, that this is not Ken's first rodeo, or indeed Ken's first go at the loom. This is in fact his third term as deacon, I think, is it, Ken?
Yeah, if I do it again, shoot me.
Yes, and I have already had the pleasure of sharing a chain gang with him. It's been a very strange 14 months, and we're not out of the woods yet, but you've managed to steer us through these turbulent events with great skill and compassion, Ken. Now, finally, thank you everyone for attending this evening. I don't know about the rest of you, but I do find the trip home from these events considerably quicker than it was in the past. A quick walk down the stairs to the drinks cabinet rather than a walk to the station. And I also find the drinks and measures are much bigger and much cheaper. So can I ask you all to raise a glass if you have one and say thank you.
Thank you.
I will pass you back to Ken for some final words.
Thank you, Mark. Very good. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to our clerk, Mark Sherland, doing an outstanding job. He even provides the notes and everything. You don't need to write it yourself. Mark Hamilton, my collector, who's done an outstanding job. I've got to say that, but you know, it's been a difficult year, but we've all got there. The main thing is the charities have all been given their dollars and obviously the awards given out. And also to Charlie, who press ganged me into this craft many years ago. I've not looked back. He's great guy, great supporter, great. I would also like to thank the fellow deacons that have come tonight, from the Masons, John, also from the Taylors, Alexander, and from the bonnet makers, Robert Linton. Thanks for coming to the box opening. And also to my master court for putting up with me for so long. I really appreciate all your help and support and all the projects we try and do. And it's been a difficult year, but we'll sure get through it into the new year. And if you're not a member yet, if you want to be press ganged, I'm happy to press gang you. It's a fantastic craft. And I also say, if you do fall on hard times, the weavers try and look after one another. That's the whole idea of having the box. It's been a real privilege to serve as deacon of this wonderful Incorporation of Glasgow Weavers for a third term, and I would recommend the job to anybody. It's just superb, the history. Again, if anybody would like to join us, either email us or phone us, and hopefully we'll see you at Suzanne's dinner in February, all going well. So many thanks. Thanks for all of you coming, appreciate it. Remember, turn off your computer, and let's hope next year we can all meet together, face to face, and without any masks. So let us weave trust with truth, stay safe, take care, and safe journey home. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Charlie.
Night.
Thank you again.
See you, David. Take care. How are you?
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
Bye.
Good.
Thanks very much for this lovely evening.
It's quite a cheap evening. No booze to buy for anybody.
We'll add it to your bill, Deacon.
Thank you very much, Ken. Hamish.
Hi, Robert.
Sorry, Hamish.
Yes.
Did you know that Ross McMillan had died?
No, I didn't. Oh.
A month ago with COVID.
Oh dear.
And one of his
lovely
sons.
Man he was.
And one of his sons as well.
Oh.
And his wife Mary has taken a stroke.
Oh dear, dear.
I got a phone call this morning. So I said I would pass it on to you tonight.
Oh, thank you for that, Charlie.
And Impy sends his regards to both of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pass that our regards to them as well, to him as well, please.
Okie dokie. Good night.
Thanks, Charlie and June.
All the best. Thank you.
Bye, June.
Bye.
Thanks, Mark.
Bye,
Take care.
Ken.
Bye.
Well done.
Well done. Yes.
Well done,
Well
Ken.
Great night, Ken.
Thank you.